Hello my dear friends, welcome to this video about finding the cardiac axis in ECGs. After watching this video, finding the cardiac axis would not be difficult anymore because it is a much easier process than what is usually perceived by most of the medical students. We are going to show you 3 methods to quickly find out the cardiac axis. In the initial part, we are going to discuss the basics needed to understand the science working behind these methods. But in case you are in a hurry, skip to the methods right away and come back to complete video later. The timeline for different parts is given in the comment section below. Cardiac axis on ECG is any of 3: normal, deviated to left, or deviated to right. And finding abnormal axis is helpful in diagnosing certain conditions which are mentioned at the end of the video. But first thing first, what is cardiac axis anyway? Recall the normal current flow during cardiac depolarization. It starts from the SA node, flows down and left through a well-defined path. The cardiac axis is an indicator of general direction that the wave of depolarization takes as it flows through the heart. If you think just about the general direction of electrical current as it flows through the ventricles, it starts at the top right-hand corner and flows towards the bottom left-hand corner. Cardiac axis is measured in degrees of angle from a reference line, which is same as the reference line of lead 1. This line is 0 degrees. Anti-clockwise it is negative up to minus 180 degrees and clockwise it is positive up to positive 180 degrees. Normal axis is conventionally defined as the general direction of current flow from anywhere between minus 30 degrees to plus 120 degrees. Beyond minus 30 degrees is left axis deviation and beyond plus 120 degrees it is right axis deviation. In the calculation of cardiac axis, it is helpful to remember the viewpoints of limb leads. Each limb lead has a viewpoint of heart from a different angle. Like lead 1 is at 0 degrees, lead 2 is at positive 60 degrees, lead 3 is at positive 120 degrees, AVR at negative 150 degrees, AVL at negative 30 degrees, and AVF at positive 90 degrees. This information from the limb leads is used to work out the cardiac axis. How? That's we are going to talk about now. Now that we have revised the basics, these 3 principles help in finding whether the cardiac axis is normal or deviated to right or left. Number 1. The axis is the general direction of electrical flow through the heart. Number 2. Each of the limb leads record this electrical flow from a different viewpoint of the heart. Number 3. Electrical flow toward a lead cause a predominant positive deflection of QRS complex and flow away from a lead cause a negative deflection. This also means that if current flows at right angle to a lead, the ECG complex generated will be isoelectric. That is, the positive and negative deflections cancel each other out. Now consider how lead 2 records ventricular depolarization. From its point of view, the flow of current in the ventricles is entirely toward this lead, and the QRS complex is entirely positive in lead 2. On the contrary, lead AVL however will see the same current at right angle to itself and record an isoelectric QRS complex. Any lead looking from a viewpoint between lead 2 and AVL will record a complex that becomes increasingly positive the closer it is to lead 2. Now coming to the methods. Method number 1. To decide if the axis is normal, you need only to look at 2 of the limb leads, 1 and 2. If the QRS complex in lead 1 is predominantly positive, this indicates that the axis lies anywhere between minus 90 degrees and plus 90 degrees. An axis at exactly plus 90 degree or minus 90 degree would cause a precisely isoelectric QRS complex in lead 1. Thus, a predominantly positive QRS complex in lead 1 excludes right axis deviation, that is, axis beyond plus 90 degrees, but does not exclude the left axis deviation, that is, an axis beyond minus 30 degrees. Now, if you look at the lead 2, if the QRS complex in lead 2 is predominantly positive, this indicates that the axis lies anywhere between minus 30 degrees and plus 150 degrees. An axis at exactly minus 30 degrees or plus 150 degrees would cause a precisely isoelectric QRS complex in lead 2. Thus, a predominantly positive QRS complex in lead 2 rules out left axis deviation, that is, the axis beyond minus 30 degrees, but does not exclude right axis deviation, that is, an axis beyond plus 90 degrees. However, by looking at both leads, whether the QRS complex is positive or negative in these two leads, it is possible to say immediately whether the axis is normal or whether there is left axis deviation or right axis deviation. So a predominantly positive QRS complex in both leads means the axis is normal. A predominantly positive QRS complex in lead 1 and predominantly negative QRS complex in lead 2 means there is left axis deviation. A predominantly negative QRS complex in lead 1 and predominantly positive QRS complex in lead 2 means there is right axis deviation. Method 2. This is just a simplification of the method 1 by thumbs up and thumbs down method. Thumbs up indicate positive QRS complex and thumbs down indicate negative QRS complex. Now positive QRS complex in both lead 1 and lead 2 means normal axis. So both thumbs up, normal axis. Positive QRS complex in lead 1 and negative in lead 2 means the thumbs left each other. That is, there is left axis deviation. Negative QRS complex in lead 1, that is thumbs down, and positive QRS complex in lead 2, that is thumbs up, means the thumbs are right for each other. That is, there is right axis deviation. Method 3. It is the extension of first method, more accurate when we include lead 3 as well in finding the axis, and this table will help you in interpreting what is the cardiac axis. Now coming on to the causes of axis deviation. Left axis deviation can be a normal variant. It can be caused by left anterior hemiblock, Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome with right-sided accessory pathway, inferior MI, and ventricular tachycardia. Right axis deviation is seen with right ventricular hypertrophy, WPW syndrome with left-sided accessory pathway, anterolateral myocardial infarction, and dextrocardia. If you enjoyed this video and have learned something, please like this video, share with your colleagues, and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.